Mark Carney's rise to Canada's top office is shaking things up. Mark Carney's ascent to Canada's highest office is already making waves. His rejection of U.S. annexation and reconsideration of Canada's $19 billion F-35 deal signal a dramatic pivot toward European partnerships. Carney's firm stance against American influence could redefine Canada's military strategy and its role in global alliances. Why is Canada making such a bold move? And how might this reshape NATO and the broader global power dynamics? Strap in. We're diving into the key developments driving this major geopolitical shift. Carney's bold stance against U.S. influence. Mark Carney isn't easing into his new role. Since being sworn in on March 14th, he's hit the ground running. Carney wasted no time in laying down the law regarding Canada's relationship with the United States. His declaration, "We will never, ever, in any way, shape, or form be part of the United States," left no room for interpretation. This wasn't merely a diplomatic rebuke. It was a direct response to U.S. Senator Marco Rubio's suggestion that Canada would be better off as America's 51st state. Carney didn't hold back, calling the idea absurd. His hardline stance reflects a growing sentiment among Canadians who see their political identity as distinctly separate from that of the U.S. While Canada and the U.S. have long enjoyed close trade, defense, and cultural ties, Carney's words mark a deliberate effort to reinforce Canada's sovereignty. This isn't just about national pride, it's a strategic move. Carney has warned that the U.S. covets Canada's resources, water, land, and even the nation itself. This isn't the language of mild diplomacy. It's a full-throttle defense of Canadian independence. He made it clear that any attempt at annexation would destroy Canada's way of life. Such rhetoric suggests Carney sees the current geopolitical climate as a threat to Canada's autonomy. But his push for sovereignty isn't just political. It's also shaping Canada's military strategy. Canada's F-35 deal breakdown, a strategic pivot. Canada's decision to reconsider its $19 billion contract for 88 F-35 stealth fighters represents a significant shift in military strategy. Defense Minister Bill Blair's announcement took many by surprise, especially since Canada had already committed funds for the first 16 jets, set for delivery next year. The F-35 program has always been contentious. Despite its advanced stealth capabilities and cutting-edge avionics, the aircraft's soaring costs and complex maintenance requirements have drawn criticism worldwide. Canada's hesitation mirrors a broader trend within NATO. Portugal recently withdrew from its F-35 plans, citing concerns over Trump's unpredictable foreign policy and U.S.-imposed operational restrictions. Blair hinted that Canada may pivot toward European-made jets, with Sweden's Saab JS-39 Gripen emerging as a top contender. The Gripen's supersonic speed and ability to operate from rough airstrips make it an attractive alternative. Even more compelling, Saab has proposed manufacturing the Gripen in Canada, which would create domestic jobs, transfer key technologies, and ensure NATO compatibility. This shift underscores Canada's drive for greater strategic independence. Relying on U.S.-controlled defense systems comes with political and operational strings attached. By turning to European models, Canada could diversify its defense partnerships and reduce its reliance on a single supplier. But this move isn't just about military flexibility. It's part of a larger strategic realignment with Europe. Canada eyes European defense partnerships. Canada's growing interest in European defense partnerships isn't happening in a vacuum. It's part of a broader realignment in global military strategy that has been unfolding over the past few years. Europe has significantly ramped up its defense spending between 2021 and 2024, with EU member states increasing their budgets by over 30%, reaching nearly €326 billion, about 1.9% of the EU's GDP. European defense companies are thriving. Rheinmetall, Europe's largest ammunition manufacturer, reported record profits last year and anticipates up to 30% growth in the coming year. The European Commission's Rearm Europe initiative is further fueling this expansion, with up to €800 billion allocated for joint defense projects and increased production capacity. Canada's potential pivot toward European suppliers has already caught the attention of major players. In addition to Saab's Gripen, France's Dassault Rafale and Germany's Eurofighter Typhoon are being touted as alternatives to the F-35. Shifting to European platforms would give Canada greater bargaining power and flexibility, advantages that are hard to achieve under the tightly controlled F-35 program. But strengthening military ties with Europe also has significant economic implications for Canada. Canada's defense strategy and economic impact. Canada's defense industry is a cornerstone of the national economy, contributing over $9.6 billion to the GDP and supporting approximately 81,200 jobs. As of 2022, its importance extends beyond national security. It's a major driver of domestic employment and technological innovation. To bolster this sector, the government introduced a defense procurement strategy aimed at equipping the Canadian Armed Forces, CAF, and the Coast Guard efficiently while stimulating job creation at home. Streamlining procurement processes has been key to improving delivery times and supporting Canadian industry. In April 2024, the government launched the Our North, Strong and Free initiative, allocating $10.2 billion over 20 years to modernize national defense infrastructure and prepare the CAF for evolving security challenges. An additional $10.2 billion over 20 years to modernize national defense infrastructure and prepare the CAF for evolving security challenges. An additional $9.5 billion will be used to build a strategic ammunition reserve and increase domestic production of artillery shells, enhancing self-reliance and reducing dependence on foreign suppliers. However, Canada's shift toward European suppliers is also reshaping its geopolitical alliances. Geopolitical fallout and strategic implications. Canada's reconsideration of the F-35 deal carries significant geopolitical weight, signaling a broader trend among NATO allies. Growing distrust of U.S. foreign policy, particularly under Trump's unpredictable leadership, is prompting some nations to rethink their defense strategies. This raises questions about NATO's cohesion and the future balance of power within the alliance. Portugal's recent decision to abandon its F-35 plans highlights this shift. Portuguese Defense Minister Nuno Melo expressed concerns over relying on American-made jets, warning that U.S. operational restrictions could compromise national security. Portugal is now exploring European alternatives, reflecting a growing desire for defense autonomy among NATO members. Canada's potential move toward European suppliers like Saab and Dassault could accelerate this trend. While moving away from US-based systems might reduce NATO's interoperability, it would also grant member states greater strategic flexibility. For European defense manufacturers, this represents a significant opportunity. Verdict: a new era for Canada's military strategy. Scrapping the F-35 deal isn't just about cutting costs. It's about asserting sovereignty and strategic independence. Carney's unequivocal rejection of U.S. annexation underscores a growing desire to strengthen Canada's autonomy. Aligning with European defense manufacturers like Saab and Dassault reflects a calculated effort to diversify military partnerships and reduce reliance on American defense infrastructure. But this decision isn't without risks. Could abandoning the F-35 strain Canada's position within NATO? Will Trump's unpredictable foreign policy push more allies toward European solutions? Canada's next steps will be crucial in determining whether this is a short-term tactical adjustment or the beginning of a major strategic realignment. So, what do you think? Should Canada ditch the F-35 and fully embrace European defense solutions, or stick with the original plan? Share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear your perspective. And remember, if you want to stay updated on the biggest stories in defense and global strategy, make sure to subscribe to CelebWiki.